Yeah, so let's look at resort differences and highlights now. So every resort has its own character. We've talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Could you highlight a few standout resorts and what makes each one special?
Yeah, I guess thing we haven't really covered is let's look at the all-inclusive firstly. What makes us different from other all-inclusives that are out there? I'm sure a number of your listeners, your viewers will be aware of and have probably done an all-inclusive somewhere around the world. We like to say that we're an all-inclusive plus, an enhanced all-inclusive. So what does the plus, what does the enhanced mean? Give you some examples. Obviously, with the food, all your dining is included. What makes us different is the fact that we don't have any supplements on any of our menus. Basically, you eat what you want when you want. We don't limit the number of times you can eat in any of the specialty restaurants. So we have a fantastic restaurant called Butcher's
Mhm.
Steak and Seafood. So it's the most amazing sort of cuts of steak. There's fish, there's ribs and things like that. So if you want to eat in Butcher's every night of your holiday, you can eat in Butcher's every night of your holiday, and we're not going to charge you a cover charge or a supplement to have fillet steak or whatever it might be. If you want to, and I'll talk from my own experience because I've never got any problem talking about food. Sandals Montego Bay, there's a soy restaurant, which is our sushi restaurant, sushi, sashimi, tempura. So I very often have what I call a dinner in soy, a little sampler plate. I'll then go to Butcher's next door and have a steak or whatever it might be. Depending on how hungry I are, I might have a starter in Butcher's as well, but probably not because I've done well in soy. And then I can either have a carrot cake dessert, which is absolutely to die for, or I can skip dessert and maybe go somewhere else later and have a late night dessert. So we don't judge. People judge me on my eating habits, but resort are not judging. But that's a lovely thing that I think you can do. So you're taking advantage of all those different dining experiences. That's a definite all-inclusive quality. And I think food and a dining experience is such a big thing that people look for now when they're planning where they're going to go and where they're going to stay. Hand in hand with your food goes your drink. Where do we differ? What's the all-inclusive plus is the fact that it's premium spirits in all of our resorts. There's no cover charges with the food. Our wine, our house wine, is a Napa-based winery called Robert Mondavi. So we've got 3 whites, 3 reds as all day, every day as part of that offering. We have a champagne as well. It's not a premium champagne as in a Veuve Clicquot or a Moet, but it's French and it's very nice. So that's in all of the bars. And we've even got bars in all of the rooms. I'm sure we're going to talk about the rooms in a second. But aside of that, what else? Water sports, the all-inclusive plus is the fact we include motorized, we include tuition, unlimited, land sports, same thing, all your equipment's included. So obviously the activity side of things, motorized water sports, we also include scuba diving as well. So there's a lot more to a Sandals, and this is the thing, we're not the cheapest in the Caribbean necessarily. We don't claim to be the cheapest in the Caribbean, but it's looking at what you get for that holiday, all those little hidden things that you might pay for at other resorts that we include. And another big thing is the tips. We include all the tips as well in your holiday cost.
That's quite big out in places close to the States because that's just the way
Yeah,
they work, isn't it?
correct. Yeah. And if you're not tipping every time you have a drink at the bar or you have someone carries your bag for you, porterage or whatever, that's quite a saving over a 2-week holiday. So yeah, those are all the hidden costs that if you know,
Yeah.
but it's the important things to factor in that maybe obviously we don't charge for, but other all-inclusives might charge for.
Yeah, and this is something I focus on quite a bit when I'm talking to clients about sandals.
Yeah.
And some of them will want to have an alternative price, and then you have to start to break it all down. And every time you break it down, I challenge anyone to find another resort with even a similar offering, and it come in more cost effective once you price everything else in that you get.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't happen every time I try it again. Because people always want to double check things and they want to make sure because it's easy to say some is more cost effective, but you have to be able to prove it. And every time you benchmark it, it always comes out that actually Sandals works out a lot more cost effective with all those things you've taken into account. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of regions of the world, people, that are looking at Europe holidays. I think probably in your head, you're thinking, if I go further afield, it's going to be more expensive. But your brain tells you that. That's very logical. But actually, some of the all-inclusive offerings now in Europe, there's some fantastic product out there, but they are expensive. And it's, again, important to look at what are they including or not including that maybe we are. And then that 7-8 hour flight might well be worthwhile to get something that is actually better and hopefully the guaranteed sunshine or whatever, when depending on when you go in. But a totally different experience going to the Caribbean maybe than what you were looking at originally with your Europe option.
Yeah, and I know one big thing about the Caribbean when you're going to compare kind of Caribbean to the European zones is that all these resorts are on beaches. They're all on fantastic beaches.
Yeah.
And it's that water quality wherever you go.
Yeah.
It's not going to be hit and miss. You have fantastic vision of the water. It's a very different, it is a Caribbean tropical experience, which you just can't replicate in Europe either.
No, and all of our resorts, they're beach, you're right, they're beach resorts. We have no inland resorts, and that's a big thing, I think, like I said, about what do people look at when they're planning their holidays. It's maybe the dining, it's maybe what can I do other than lie on a beach or by the pool. So that experience out and around the resort or on island, the land and water sports is a huge thing for us, because people do want to do that and take advantage and not just lie around the bed and drink beers, Red Stripe all day or whatever it might be. So hopefully somewhere across the portfolio, we can tick a box of a perfect choice for the customer.
Yeah, there's been a big shift, obviously, with the younger generation now. They're drinking a lot less than maybe did at my age when I was younger. They're not going to bars as often. So they want other things to do with their time. And that is kind of 100% where the water sports come in, the land sports you do. There's such a variety of things that you can do, which are all included.
Yeah, a common one. Every resort pretty much has what we call a main pool. So it's the one where there's a bit more going on. A signature of our resorts in the main pool usually is that there's a swim up pool bar there, which in the afternoon can get a little bit lively. Maybe there's some reggae music playing or whatever. That's not everyone's cup of tea. So maybe if that is where you like to get away from that, then I would certainly say let's look at a resort where there are other quieter pool areas. So again, there's ones that I can think of immediately, somewhere like Antigua, for example, somewhere like Sandals Beaches in Jamaica, which gives you the option to get away from something where there's a bit more lively, got bit more going on. But likewise, you might find the next customer says, I love all of that. I want to be around that main pool. I want to be having me cocktails and me spirits and whatever. Everyone is different, and that's the beauty of life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we're going to come on to it afterwards, but when you go through the image galleries and things, you go through all the training, you're looking at stuff. You do like theme nights and stuff, and I want to touch on that afterwards, because some of them look like some incredible fun nights. They look brilliant. Saying on our resort differences and kind of highlights. So which resort would you recommend for first timers, for Sandals visitors?
Oh, there's a good one. So I have to really ask the question of, what do you like, going back to what I said earlier, what do you like doing on holiday? What's your expectations? And that could be something to do with flying time. It could be something to do with the room requirements. It could be something to do with what is going on in resorts. So it's difficult to recommend a first time resort because every resort is going to be different to what the customer's expectations or priorities are.
Yeah, okay. So if we've got a younger couple, they like to party, like to have a nice fun time, where are they going to go?
So some of the capital of fun for me is Jamaica. So I would immediately look at one of the Jamaican resorts. There's an amazing vibe. The people are super friendly. The staff are super friendly. Contrast in resorts there, you've got somewhere like Sandals Beaches, which is our biggest resort, over 500 rooms. But you've got amazing pool areas. You've got amazing variety of different styles of accommodation. But Jamaica's quite a competitive island in terms of pricing. There's a lot of flights that come into Jamaica. It's our most important resort in terms of number of rooms. So as a result of that, the pricing is a bit more competitive, shall we say, than other islands where maybe there's a higher demand. So Ochi is always a good one for a first timer. Dip your toe in the Sandals pool sort of thing. See if you like the product. But what you're always going to get with Ochi is a fantastic price, regardless of when you go, because there's over 500 rooms to sell on a nightly basis. But contrast Ochi, where there's a lot to do in that part of Jamaica. So if you're going to go out and about, you want to see a bit more of the island, that's a great area to be, as I mentioned earlier. But then if you're a first timer and all you want is a beach and a book type holiday, then there's other side of the island somewhere called Sandals South Coast. Again, year round, very good pricing, but it is exactly that. It's a bit more of a laid back Sandals experience, but with amazing dining and an amazing stretch of beach.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. People who are either wanting more of a quiet time, maybe a little bit older.
Yeah.
Where are they going to head?
I guess I've got to look at which are our top selling resorts for that sort of age demographic. I would look at Eastern Caribbean, St. Lucia in particular.
Yeah.
I would also look at Grenada. Grenada is an amazing resort. It's relatively quiet. You're probably going to be tucked up in bed around 10:30.
Yeah.
Because yes, there's an entertainment program, but we tend to find that people nip off to bed early.
Yeah.
There is an on-site pub, so if you want to continue your partying, you can do, or your drinking, you can do in the pub. But average age there is a little bit higher because of the type of resort. It is a quieter resort. The main pool is lovely with a swim up. It's a smaller sort of stretch of land, bit of a smaller beach. But guests absolutely love that. A similar one that we've got size-wise on St. Lucia is called Sandals Beach. All low rise, gardens orientated, nice stretch of beach as well, great dining options. But that's always been a firm favourite with the Brits that want a bit more of a quiet, laid back Sandals experience. Now, the good thing with St. Lucia is we've got 3 resorts on St. Lucia. So one of the benefits of Sandals, that all-inclusive plus I mentioned earlier, is the fact that guests staying at Halcyon, for example, can also go to Le Toc, they can go to the Grand, they can spend a day there, they can eat there, they can drink there, they can have a lovely meal in the evening. So suddenly you've gone from maybe 9 dining options at Halcyon to 29 across all 3 resorts.
Yeah.
So it's getting people off property. It's maybe giving them a slightly different experience at one of the other resorts, but also giving them access to restaurants that you don't necessarily have at your resort as well. So that's another one that I would recommend, an island-wise. And usually St. Lucia, one of the resorts, is in our top 3 every week in terms of UK bookings.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I was talking to Grenada very recently, the Grenadian tourist authority
Yeah.
there. I was quite surprised because I've had Grenada as a quieter zone. But I'm quite surprised at the things you can get out and go and see and do. And just because it is a smaller island in Jamaica, there's still so much you can go and do on the island, get out and explore. So you can still go and learn about the culture, do all those things, just all activity-based stuff you can get out there and go and do.
Yeah.
So the resort may be quieter, but it doesn't mean you have to switch off the whole holiday and it's a pool only. You can absolutely get out and go and explore the wider area in all these places.
They call it the Spice Island, don't they? So there's lots of the tours that you can go to a rum distillery and go to see all the various fantastic spices. It's a cultural experience for sure, but it's a lovely island. The people are super friendly. But yeah, I would always recommend any resort, any island, particularly if you've never been there before, at least go and do a half-day island tour. Just get your bearings, get your experience of that island and the people. I would say really that is a minimum I think you should be doing when you go to a new place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, completely agree. So are there any adult-only resorts or especially romantic ones that are really popular with couples, honeymoons, those types of things?
One that I would go to, one that I would say would be a go-to resort that probably ticks that box is Antigua. It's the most popular resort for honeymooners from the UK. That amazing stretch of beach there, the dining options, that would be one island that I would say would be perfect for honeymooners. We also do weddings. If anyone and any of the listeners, viewers are interested in a destination Caribbean wedding, we offer a complimentary wedding package across all our resorts as well. And Antigua is, again, one of those more popular resorts for the destination Caribbean wedding.
Yeah, okay. So we have talked a little bit already about dining and drinks options.
Yep.
But let's explore a little bit more. This is going to cross over with our next section a little bit. So you'll stay at one and play it more.
Yep.
Because they are really closely interlinked. But I think we've covered off drinks. But the dining, really, there's a kind of a mind-boggling amount of options available.
Yes.
And you've talked about your stay at one, play it all. When you start to look at the different islands and options, how many restaurant options do you have available to you staying at some of these resorts?
I think if you're going to go to every resort and do every restaurant, you're going to be dining at, I think it's about 160 odd restaurants across the portfolio now. I'm nowhere near that, incidentally, even after 18 years. But yeah, it's a big thing, the dining experience. And the beauty of having somewhere like St. Lucia, which I've just mentioned, going from 9 restaurants to 29 across the portfolio, what that opens up is restaurants that you wouldn't necessarily have at your resort, but you want to sample that type of cuisine. Not a problem, we'll make a reservation for you in one of the other 2 resorts. You just get on the courtesy bus up to that resort. As I say, you can spend the day there, but then you can obviously have that dining experience in the evening. So the dining works, really well. We've got things like sample menus as well. So you can not only discover where you'd have breakfast, lunch, dinner, but you can see these sample menus, which are a pretty good reflection of actuality, what is in resort and what they're currently like. Things like opening times of the restaurants. In terms of the experience from when you wake up in the morning to the time you go to bed, breakfast, we have in most resorts a restaurant called Bayside, and that's our buffet restaurant. Sustainability, again, the way the brand is moving, we are actually moving more away from that buffet experience, and again, research and the customer feedback, taking that on board. But it is currently an option in the majority of resorts. But alongside that, you'll have an a la carte option as well. There's definitely would be one a la carte, possibly two, depending on the size of the resort. Order off the menu, obviously then serve straight to you. But the buffet restaurants, Bayside, you're going to have egg stations, all your omelettes cooked to order. You're going to have all your fresh baked breads and croissants. You're going to have fruit. You're going to have smoothie stations. Absolutely amazing. So that's great. We've tended to find that people now, lunchtime, they don't want a big meal. Maybe you're on holiday, so you've had a lie-in, you've had breakfast late. So it's all about maybe quick and simplistic. So our daytime dining, which opens up about 11:30 in the morning, will be quick restaurants, things like this, somewhere called the Jerk Shack, which is the most amazing jerk chicken, pork, ribs. You can obviously sit table of two, wash down with a red stripe, amazing experience. But in theory, you could be in and out in 15, 20 minutes. A relatively new thing for us is food trucks as well. Food trucks, everyone I'm sure has probably eaten or experienced a food truck somewhere, festival or whatever it might be. That's a big thing for us now. And where we can, we're putting food trucks in resorts. And that varies immensely. There's a coffee truck, Tex-Mex. There's I think it's called Chicken Dippers in Sandals South Coast, which is amazing. We've got stone-baked pizzerias as well. Dino's, for example, so you can just go up quickly, grab a slice or grab the whole pizza, take it back to your room, be civilized, sit down and have it, or eat it at your sunbed. So daytime is all about quick speed. And then in the evening, 5:30 in the afternoon, probably about 5:30 at Sandals, you'll get all your restaurants, your a la carte dining will be open. So in the evening, there is now no buffet, it's all a la carte. Okay. And that, as I said, Sandals Ochi being our biggest 16 restaurants across the portfolio. Last year, I think it was the back end of last year, we've now got on the Sandals app, we've given the customers the ability to book their first restaurant before they travel. Yeah. So a lot of frustration for the British customers, a lot of the flights get in late afternoon. By the time you've got to resort, it's early mid-evening. People have been disappointed to not be able to get in the restaurant of their choice. So we've now given people the ability on the app to book 2 weeks before their first restaurant. Yeah. And then once they're in resort, they can then book future restaurants as well.
Fantastic.
With the dine-in as well, just lastly, we've got reservation and only restaurants. I mentioned Butch's earlier. Butch's, for example, would be a reservation only. And then we have a number that would be walk-ins as well. So to a point, first come, first served. Yeah. So hopefully we're ticking the box of everyone when it comes to dining in terms of what food choice you want, but also the variety and numbers of restaurants as well.
Yeah. So you've said we got Butchers for your steak.
Yeah.
You've got Dino's there for your kind of your pizzeria stuff, your fast stuff. You've got your soy restaurant as well for your Japanese type food.
That's it.
What else have we got in there? So
soy is more like the sushi. We also have a teppanyaki experience as well, which is called kimono. So kimonos needs a reservation. And it's a dining experience as well as eating. You sit around a big hot plate. It's usually about 8 people to a table. So a great thing about that is you're meeting new friends and you get chatting to other people on holiday, but your chef actually comes out and cooks for you. It's very interactive. So they'll get maybe you singing a song and got to try and catch some food in your mouth or whatever it might be. But that is a great experience. And that appears at a lot of restaurants as well. We've got French restaurants. There's Italian restaurants. Across a lot of the portfolios. Certainly Asian cuisine is a big thing as well. And likewise, Caribbean restaurants. Why go all the way to the Caribbean and not have some jerk chicken or some fantastic fish, which when I'm in the Caribbean, that is me. Give me some sort of a fish, a mahi-mahi or snapper or whatever, done with all these amazing spices, and that's me. I'm happy.
Oh, the red snapper from last night was really good.
That was really good.
That
Red
was
snapper in
fantastic.
Cardiff was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was great. Yeah. They also mentioned you go into Ochi, you have up to 16 restaurants available to you.
Yeah.
You can go there for 2 weeks and not eat in the same restaurant the same night.
Correct. Yeah. And you also have room service in a lot of the room categories as well. So that's always nice to have. A 2 week holiday. You don't necessarily want to go out and dress up and go out for a meal. You maybe want something quick, or you've been on a day tour and you get back, you're a bit tired. Room service is great as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that is big today, sustainability is a big issue. The type of foods that we eat and the variety and choice of foods. There's obviously lots and lots of choice there, but how are we answering the allergens, the gluten-free, the celiacs, all those types of needs that people have?
Yes, so we have a culinary concierge desk in every resort, twofold. One is this is where you can make your dinner reservations. Obviously, I mentioned you can do it on the app. You can also do it via the culinary concierge desk. But it's also where anyone that has like an allergy or they think there's something they need to flag with us, they can go down. They'll have a one-to-one consultation with one of the head chefs, depending on the severity of whatever the allergy is. We'll obviously make I think it's a 2-page form we fill out. We obviously pass it to all the key restaurants in resort. What we generally ask is if that is you with a sort of severe allergy, then every morning you go and choose what and where you want to eat in the evening. So we can then obviously make sure that they're prepared, because it might need certain foodstuffs or certain food preparation or the way it's cooked. So we do it, and we do it very well. All the menus have got vegetarian, sometimes gluten-free things are flagged as well. So don't worry if you're gluten intolerant, for example, resort will be able to cater. One of my colleagues is actually gluten-free. So interesting for me earlier on in the year when I travelled with her to see the experience of obviously her flagging that. So she didn't go to culinary concierge desk, but just at every meal we had, she just flagged it with the chef. A couple of times they actually got the chef out, right, what can we cook for you? What would you like? And there was a couple of examples where she actually fancied something from one of the other restaurants.
Yeah.
They actually went and got the food from the other restaurant and brought it to her.
Oh,
so
wow.
She was absolutely happy. But it's the little touches like that that make a difference. Likewise with beaches, kids and kids' allergies these days, don't be put off. A lot of people think that they probably wouldn't even entertain going to an all-inclusive because the mindset would be, there's no way they can cater for my needs. We can, we do, and we do it very well. So please have confidence in that.
Yeah. Awesome. It's such a big part, especially today, and how kind of society's changed and foods are becoming so topical, and making sure that they're right, they're fit for people, and our overall awareness has just changed, isn't it, over the last 10 plus years.
And I think as well, it is going back to one of your original questions about sustainability. We're very pro supporting local farmers, local fishermen. So the farm to table, the sea to table experience is massive to us. As I said, the cost of producing things in the Caribbean, there's a lot of food stuff in particular that, needless to say, aren't available on island. So we're importing them predominantly from the States. With that comes a huge cost, of course. So where we can, and we always have done, supported local farmers, fishermen and things like that to give that fresh local produce element to the holiday and the dining experience. Absolutely, we're going to embrace that, and we do. So that's very important to us as a company, as a business as well.
Yeah, it's really important.